Okay, it's showtime.
It's showtime. Hello and welcome to Generic Drift with me, Harvey Broadhurst, and the goodest of friends, Adam Bakewell.
Hello.
How are you, Adam?
I'm pretty good, yeah. I've had the house to myself this weekend because Katie's gone for her free graduation.
Oh, her free graduation?
Yeah.
What's a free graduation?
So if you go to Cambridge and you graduate and you don't commit a crime within 7 years, you just get given a master's.
What do you mean?
Well, you just get given a master's. So I hear.
So you just get so if you get an undergrad degree, within 7 years, if you haven't committed a crime, you get a master's from Cambridge.
Yeah, just automatically.
Do you have to pay for the master's?
No, I don't think so. Not as far as I've been aware. I don't think that Katie would pay for it if you had to.
Oh, okay.
But I have no other evidence than that. I bet they won't be giving her a piece of plastic pipe to pose with in her pictures.
No, I bet she'll have a real scroll.
You have to kneel down during part of the ceremony. You know, it's not just walk across the stage, not shake hands with the Vice-Chancellor and then leave.
Far more, ritualistic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good. I wish I went to Cambridge.
Well, you know, it's obviously only jealousy on my part as well, but we can cut that bit out as well.
We will, don't you worry. Certainly won't be leaving that in. Okay, so obviously it's been a little while since we recorded our last show.
Yep.
3 weeks, I think.
I know, imagine all the news we've got to catch up on.
I know, exactly. It's going to be a bumper episode. Before we get into the thick of it, I would just like to update you on what I've been doing since we last spoke.
Okay, excellent.
So
I was worried you were going to say SpaceX, so that's a good start.
No, don't worry. There will be no mention of SpaceX this episode.
We'll see.
Well, yeah, we will see. Maybe there will. Well, there just was, actually. So I've taken up a new hobby.
Okay.
You know me. I always get into these new hobbies and I get carried away and I spend too much money on them. Yeah. But in the last 3 weeks, I have bought a bird feeder.
Is that a hobby?
I think so. Having
a bird feeder?
I think attracting birds to the garden and feeding them, you know.
Do you live in a third floor flat?
I do live in a third floor flat with a balcony that overlooks onto a courtyard, if you remember correctly. I don't know, Did you ever go on the balcony?
Yeah, I went on the balcony, but it doesn't have a roof, does it, sort of?
No, what do you mean?
So it's sort of open?
Yeah.
At least part of it? Yeah, so it might be good for birds. Sorry, I take that back.
Yeah, we do get birds in the courtyard. So I've got this bird feeder I bought it's quite a modern looking one.
Yeah.
To go with the flat, you know. It's got suction cups so I can stick it on the outside of the windows instead of hanging it up somewhere because obviously we don't really have anywhere to hang it up. And it's got an area for the bird seed and then 2 little things that stick off to the side so that you can sort of impale what are they called? Those fat ball things on them. And I think it's really cool. Within the first few days, there was no birds were coming over. I was like, oh man, this sucks. And I actually looked around and I noticed for the first time that on the tops of all of the buildings surrounding the courtyard, there are those, do you know those fake bird scarer things? They're like big birds of prey, but they're made out of plastic and they flap in the wind.
Yeah, they're supposed to be kestrels, aren't they?
Yeah, they do look a bit kestrel-like. And I think they've been put up to get rid of the seagulls because apparently we had a huge seagull problem here when the flats were first built and there were loads of seagulls, hundreds of them. And they're quite distracting, aren't they? Quite noisy birds. So we still get a few, but apparently they scare those away. So I was worried the little birds would be scared by those and I wouldn't get any on the bird feeder.
Mm-hmm.
But I have actually seen, since then, a pair of blue tits.
Nice.
And a few great tits as well.
Oh. Aren't you worried having this bird feeder stuck up on your window that sooner or later one's just going to overshoot and fly into your window and die?
The good thing about it is the area where it's positioned is like a coloured part of the window so that it doesn't look like a window, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I don't think the bird will fly into the window, but that was a little bit of a concern. I don't know, it hasn't happened yet. Anyway, I'm really enjoying seeing these birds, and I think I'm going to get really into it. I'd like to attract some finches, some bullfinches. They're my absolute fave, but I don't know if we get them around here. So yeah, that's my new hobby. Do you ever feed the birds at all?
I don't feed. You have parrots in London, don't you?
We do in one
Is
of
that
the
around
parks.
your area?
No.
That's a shame. Yeah, no, I don't feed the birds, to answer the question that you asked me before.
Why not?
Well, I see a lot of birds, actually. Like, on campus, there's a big lake with loads of water birds. But, I mean, they're quite boring. Geese and moorhens and stuff.
I mean, I do like those birds, but I don't find those as exciting. I don't find those as interesting as the small little songbirds. The passeriforms, I think they're called.
Yeah, maybe it's because you see them flying around less. Like, flying is interesting.
Flying is very interesting. And also, I guess, just like ducks and swans, I don't know, you do see those everywhere, don't you?
Yeah.
And you grow up feeding them in the ponds and stuff, so...
Well, not me, obviously.
Did you never do that?
I've been to feed the ducks before, but I was very scared of Canadian geese and swans. Vicious.
I do quite like geese. I like Canadian geese as well.
I'm okay with a regular goose.
Yeah.
Well, or an Egyptian.
I don't think I'm familiar with the Egyptian goose.
They're like white.
Let me just look up the Egyptian goose.
Oh no, maybe the normal ones are white. What's the normal goose called?
The normal goose is just I'm going to say the common goose. I'm looking at the Egyptian goose. I'm not familiar with these.
Oh, we've
these
got those in York.
Excellent. Do we?
We've got those on the campus, certainly.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I will include a picture of the Egyptian goose for everybody, all of our listeners. That you can find that in the show notes. And also, I've just found out that the goose that you're looking for is the domestic goose.
Okay, the domestic goose then.
That's the white one with orange trimming, if you will.
But Canadian, I'm not going to go near.
I think the common geese are scarier than Canadian geese.
No.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Canadian geese they're the ones with the black necks. Yeah? Yeah, they're not as scary as the common goose, mate. Okay. Trust me.
Well, I grew up near a lake, and I was constantly terrorised by Canadian geese anytime you'd go down for an ice cream, which was quite often for me.
Oh, okay. All right, maybe they are scary. Maybe they are. The reason I bring this up, not just because it's my hobby, is because the RSPB recently called for more people to feed the birds, mainly because of the awful conditions we've had in the UK. It's obviously been very, very cold, quite late into the year. So I want to encourage people to feed the birds because I think it's good. I think it's nice as well to see birds come to your house and to feed them, look after them, almost as a pet that can also, has the wild to explore. It's lovely. So I would encourage all of our listeners and you, my co-host, to get yourself a bird feeder.
Yeah, I'll think about it.
Good.
What mobile phone network are you on?
I'm on Vodafone.
Well, that's brilliant. Why are you on Vodafone?
Just because they offered the cheapest package with the phone that I have.
Okay, I had a suspicion it would be something else. Another reason that was in the news for this week.
I am unfamiliar with this, so tell me.
They're taking 4G to the moon.
Oh, I have seen this actually, yes. Yeah, well, I saw maybe the headline. Yeah. But go on, explain the story to me, please.
Well, it's going on a SpaceX rocket, your favourite.
Oh, you're mentioning SpaceX this week.
As soon as I said it, I knew I was going to have to mention that it was on a SpaceX rocket. It's like the technology is going up in 2019. Oh, yeah? And so mobile phone signal is apparently much more efficient than radio waves, which is how they usually transmit information on the moon. So they're going to be able to have little moon explorers going out and sending back a constant feed of video information or whatever information back to a central thing and then eventually Earth. That's
awesome.
Yeah.
So essentially the moon exploring satellites and do we have rovers on the moon?
Yeah.
They will be able to use Vodafone's 4G network to transmit data back to Earth.
Yeah, but like like HD video, which I don't know is necessarily possible.
So larger data packages as well.
Yeah.
And, okay, so it's not necessarily about the speed of transmission. It's about the quantity and quality of data that they can send back.
For less energy.
Okay, cool. So what will it be? Will it be like a satellite in orbit? Or is it a network of satellites? Do you know?
So there's going to be a mast, but then obviously, I guess, maybe even using, I guess Vodafone's normal satellites are pointed towards the Earth, so maybe like a few more satellites. I don't know whether it'll be moon-wide coverage.
Okay.
Because I couldn't get Vodafone in Hull, so certainly not 4G.
When it says a mast, that suggests to me that it's a ground thing, that they're landing something on the moon.
Yeah, they are landing something on the moon.
Oh, okay, so they're putting a mast on the moon.
Yeah.
I guess
they're also putting rovers on to communicate with the mast.
Oh, right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so there'll be a mast on the moon, rovers on the moon, and then I guess, but there's not going to be any satellites.
Not as far as I've read, but they've got, so it's a joint thing between Vodafone, Nokia, and Audi who are doing the rovers.
Okay, that does make sense. I was going to say that's the odd one out there.
Yeah, no, it's actually, I thought there would have already been one, but according to the article I read, it was the first privately funded moon landing.
Yeah, that does make sense. I mean, a privately funded space exploration is a very recent thing.
Yeah.
With SpaceX, obviously. But before that, it's always been government organizations exploring other planets, especially like for the purposes of science. It's always been government-based things because obviously getting funding for these sorts of things for science is really, really difficult.
Yeah.
But obviously there's lots of commercial satellites in orbit of Earth, but actually exploring the moon and Mars and whatnot. Yeah.
I mean, it does sound like Vodafone's operation there is going to be scientific, though.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So, what other purpose would it be?
Well, when we go to the moon. That's what the article seemed to suggest. Like, we could go to live on the moon, and then we'd have 4G.
We're forced to use Vodafone's network.
Yeah. We've got a monopoly.
Yeah. No EE. No Kevin Bacon on the moon.
No Kevin Bacon on... But they'd have Yoda.
What do you mean? Does he advertise?
Yoda does the Vodafone adverts, doesn't he?
Oh, does he? I don't really watch TV, I'm sorry. I think I know Kevin Bacon because he used to do the adverts of the movies, didn't he? He was annoying. He's really annoying. He's sold out.
So has Yoda.
Yeah, he has. Okay, so that's awesome, man. That is awesome. Good for Vodafone. I'm really glad that I'm with Vodafone.
Yeah, I'm not.
Who are you with?
EE, Kevin Bacon.
Oh, of course. Of course, he fell for the Kevin. In a very similar vein to what we've just discussed, do you remember the Curiosity rover?
Where was it?
So it's on Mars.
Okay.
And it was a rover that NASA sent to Mars about 5-6 years ago, just to explore a little region. And at the time of recording this podcast, the rover's just completed 2,000 Martian days, what they call sols, on Mars. So since landing, it landed in August 2012, Curiosity's driven about 11.5 miles through a region called the Gale Crater, which is the region that it was sent to explore.
Yeah.
11.5 miles, I mean, it doesn't sound like very much.
No, it's not.
But it must be very difficult to control a rover that's like 100 million miles away.
Is it that difficult to program it to not need controlling?
I don't know. This is the thing. I don't know enough about how Curiosity works because there must be a time lag between, like, if I was just controlling it remotely.
Yeah.
When I say move forward 1 meter, for example, when I send that signal to Curiosity, it's not going to do it instantly. There must be a lag between me sending that and then, and then you have to surely evaluate the position that it's in then.
Exactly.
In order to make the next move.
Okay, I get what you mean. So you think it just goes forward like 1 meter and then stops, and then you have to wait until it stops to reprogram it.
I'm not entirely sure how it works. I think it would obviously be better if it had some sort of machine learning algorithm that helped, or self-driving. Yeah, exactly. That would help it explore Mars.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it does. I don't actually. I really don't know how it works. So I can't really go into the ins and outs of that.
So what has it found then?
Okay, so before I tell you what it's discovered,
yeah,
there are some really, really cool photos that it's taken of Mars. Some of the best photography that we've got of Mars. Probably, definitely the best photography that we've got of Mars. So I'm going to include some photos in the show notes, but I just want to send you some.
Okay.
So this first one I'm going to send you is a landscape photo. And it reminds me a bit of, I don't know if you've seen them, I suspect you probably haven't, but the early Planet of the Apes movies.
No, I haven't.
No. So they were filmed in, I think, the deserts of the USA, like Arizona and that. I've just sent you the first photo. Take a look at that.
Okay, yeah.
That's another planet.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Doesn't look real.
No, I know.
It looks like a painting.
It does, yeah, you're right.
And this is the best photography we've got?
Well, some of the best, yeah. I think we've got some other photos. Well, there's no 4G network on Mars, so perhaps the file sizes that it sends back aren't quite as good as the photography we'll get from the moon. So I thought, all right, you're not impressed with that?
Oh, it just looks like a mess.
What do you mean?
I don't know, it just looks like a mess. Like, it's not very exciting, is it?
I'll send you this one then. This one's really cool. Okay, so the second photo. This is a photo of Earth from Mars. Okay. And it's just a tiny dot in the night sky.
Yeah, I've got it. I mean, could be a missing pixel, couldn't it?
Yeah, it is that small.
Yeah.
It really is.
Is this the first picture of Earth from Mars?
No, I think we might have some others.
I dispute that this is even a picture of Earth from Mars.
You think it's been doctored, do you?
No, in the same way that if I took a photo of the sky and I knew Mars was going past us in orbit at that time, but you can't see it because it's too far away. I don't think I could conceivably say this is a photo of Mars if that isn't what it shows.
So you think that could just be anything?
Well, not that it could be Earth. It could very well be Earth, but you can't see it, so it's not there, is it?
Okay.
Well, I'll put it in a different way. If I had a photo with a celebrity, Richard Osman, let's say, but I'd cut off almost all of Richard Osman. My nan had taken it or something, so he just had half of an arm on or something. I wouldn't say, oh, here's a picture of me and Richard Osman. And that's what Mars is doing.
Okay.
Can't see the Earth.
I think it would not be like that at all. I think it would be as if nobody had ever seen Richard Osman from the perspective of, I don't know, another planet. And there was an organization who'd built a machine that was sent to that other planet, and then they took a picture of Richard Osman from a perspective that nobody's familiar with, that's completely alien to any of us, and then they took it, and you would have to be forgiving of the fact that picture is not going to be a close-up of Richard Osman, even though you can obviously easily get a picture of Richard Osman, a close-up of Richard Osman. The reason that this is so amazing, this photo is so amazing, is because it is a picture of the planet that we're all from, that we're on now, from another planet. And yes, it's tiny, and it's not that impressive, and it's not a great picture of the Earth. It's not like as high resolution a picture of the Earth that you get from orbit of Earth. But nonetheless, it's incredible to see the Earth from such a huge distance away. And even the fact that you can see it from Mars, and the fact that we've built a machine that has gone to Mars and has pointed a camera at the Earth and taken a photo of it, I think that is why this image is very impressive.
I'll keep the Mona Lisa, thanks.
All right, well, you do that.
Impressive. It's a dot.
I know it's a dot, but it's a dot from Mars.
Okay.
You're just being obtuse.
I'm not being obtuse. I just don't think it's okay.
I think you'll like this one. The final picture that I'm going to share with you. This is a really cool one, and it's different as well. I think you'll like it because it's different. So I'm sending it to you now. This is a selfie of Curiosity.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah, I thought you would. Because it's gimmicky.
Yeah. Well, no, it looks like a cool machine.
Yeah,
looks
it
like
is.
something off Robot Wars.
It does. Yeah. Sir Kill-A-Lot, I think. They just repurposed him.
Yeah, no, it's yeah, that's even the Mars looks better there though.
Yeah, you like that?
Like you can see rocky outcrops.
Okay. Maybe I didn't select the best photos then for you. Maybe I should.
Looks like it's been crazy paved. Looks like it's halfway through crazy paving.
Yeah. I think it does look really cool. And yeah, obviously, yeah, Curiosity looks really cool. I also really like how, although it's taken a selfie, you can't really work out how. Do you know what I mean? Because unlike a human selfie, we have like hold our arm out and take a picture. There's no arm to suggest that. So the way that it's done it is it does have a robotic arm that can take a selfie, but it's taken lots of different images and then put them together as a composite, like a mosaic.
Okay.
So you can see the shadow on the floor of the arm, and that's just from CERN.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope people are looking at these along with us.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
if not, crazy paving, sort of a beige colour with Wally on it.
Yeah, he does look very Wally, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So those are the 3 images that I'm going to share with you. And those are 3 images that I'll put in the show notes as well for anybody who wants to see them. But there are loads more. And I will also include a link to an article which has lots of different photos from Curiosity, some of which might impress you a little bit more, actually, Adam.
Yeah, maybe I'll have a look. I'm curious.
Nice. Very nice. Let's go on to the discoveries then. You want to know what discoveries it's made?
Yeah.
Okay. These I feel like you're not going to be very impressed. You're not going to be impressed unless it's like discovered a unique alien organism or something. But
that would impress me.
Yeah, of course, that would be amazing. I think what it's done is really cool. But all right. So within the first few weeks of landing, I think it had about 16 sols, 16 Martian days to recuperate, maybe gather some energy from the sun with its solar panels, and then it set off on its journey. And the first thing I think it discovered was some pebble beds, and these are shallow geological features with rocks that are rounded in shape, and so they would have been formed in an ancient river, which would have flowed from the surrounding highlands. So probably those mountains that we were looking at that you weren't impressed with. A river would have flown from those down into the crater. Like, it's basically the footprint of an ancient river.
Yeah, I'm impressed.
Yeah?
I'm impressed by Shingle.
So this is the kind of stuff that Curiosity's been looking for. I think one of its main focuses is the presence of water on Mars, which is something that we've known for quite a while. It seems that Mars had lots of abundant water early in its formation and has long since been lost to the atmosphere and space. So another area that Curiosity discovered was called Yellowknife Bay, and before Curiosity arrived on the planet, scientists were unable to deduce whether this region was formed by lava flows or lake sediments because of the photographs that we had. So Curiosity drilled into the rock and found layers of sand and muds, suggesting that these were deposits from rivers into not just rivers, but an enormous lake as well.
Okay.
And then this huge lake, because of the mudstones in the region, they're like layered, and that can also suggest that the lake was a really long-standing body of very deep water as well. So it's not just shallow rivers and lakes, but also a really deep areas. So, I mean, in the search for water on Mars or the presence of historical water on Mars, I think Curiosity's done, amazing things.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the only thing that it's done. And other than that, it's also photographed and documented dune fields with sand dunes that are reminiscent of those on Earth. I'm not sure whether we were familiar with those before it was sent to the planet. And this one's really cool. Zigzagging atmospheric cloud patterns that we've never seen before.
So, like, clouds formed in zigzags?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's got some very low resolution images of those, which I will also include in the show notes as well. I mean, yeah, I just think it's really, really cool. This is really cool science, exploring a different planet. It's crazy to think that there are people on Earth just making new discoveries on Mars, maybe on a daily basis.
Well, probably not on a daily basis. How long has it been there?
2,000 days, 2,000 sols.
How long is a sol?
A sol is equivalent to 24 hours, 39 minutes, and about 35 seconds on Earth. So it's very similar to an Earth day. Yeah, not too bad. So when we go to Mars, we might have to work longer hours, but not by very much, hopefully.
Well, they've only managed to drive the thing 11 miles. So they're 11 not working that hard.
11 and a half miles.
11 and a half miles. Why was a delivery driver?
Yeah, it'd take a while to get your Amazon packages.
Yeah.
I mean, so what do you think? What do you think of Curiosity?
Yeah, interesting. Well, I just don't know whether Mars... We've spoken about space a lot. I don't know whether Mars is my kind of thing,
How come?
There's so much interesting stuff on Earth, and I just feel like there's more interesting stuff than there is on Mars. But I think we have got to practice our space exploration a little bit at a time. And maybe one day we will find interesting things. Like, the hope is to find something as interesting as Earth, but that seems unlikely.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if there was water on Mars, then I feel like the ingredients for life are pretty abundant in the universe, right?
Yeah.
What ingredients do you need? Like carbon, bit of phosphorus, oxygen, nitrogen, whatever. Like these things, I think, are probably all present on Mars. Yeah. So I think the suggestion that there was once water, maybe billions of years ago, it would be really, really cool if we could find life on a planet, the closest planet to us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
But we haven't.
No, we haven't. We haven't. And
we found some shingle.
We found flowing water. And wherever we have flowing water on Earth, we have life. And if life could evolve on Earth, come from nothing to RNA, DNA, whatnot, single-celled organisms, then why couldn't that have happened on Mars?
Well, it could, but it's the least likely place to have happened, surely.
Why?
Because we've been there and checked it out.
But okay, we're talking about organisms. I don't know how long ago, I don't think anybody knows how long ago this water was on Mars. But
yeah,
potentially the suggestion is it was billions of years ago. Now, how long has life been on Earth? 3.5 billion years ago? Do we have fossils from 3.5 billion years ago? What if the period of life on Earth or of life on Mars was so short that life never evolved beyond a sort of single-celled stage? But that would still mean that there was life there. And I think that is probably, I mean, that would be one of the most significant scientific discoveries ever, right?
Yeah.
Life on another planet. Anyway, I think it's really cool science. I think I remember when Curiosity landed and I was really excited about it, and I remember seeing the first few pictures, and then my interest sort of waned and I hadn't really checked in with it for a while. I think I do follow it on Twitter.
Yeah.
But just seeing this sort of summary of the discoveries that it's made and the photographs that it's taken, I think it's just another reminder of the incredible things that we are achieving with science in the 21st century. And yeah, I think everyone should check it out. Couple more things that I just wanted to mention. So in 2013, having spent a year on Mars, the rover actually sang Happy Birthday to itself.
Yeah, okay.
Not interested?
Did it play a recording of Was it like a xylophone affair with the telescope, or did it play a recording of somebody singing Happy Birthday, or was it a robotic voice? And in all of these cases, why was this feature installed onto the Mars rover?
Yeah, marketing, I suspect.
Well, I'm not going to sell it. I don't see people walking around with Curiosity keychains.
Well, no, but
maybe they do sell them at NASA, actually.
They probably definitely do. But NASA do obviously want people to maintain an interest in Curiosity, because NASA get their funding from the government, and the government fund NASA through, pressure from the public. So I guess they have to include some of these marketing gimmicks in order to keep people engaged with it, so they can receive the funding and explore Mars even further. In answer to your question though, I don't know how it sang Happy Birthday. I would like to think it was like a robotic voice though. Do you remember Microsoft Sam? The voice?
Yes.
I want it to be a bit like that.
Yeah, that would be quite funny.
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, Curiosity. Happy birthday to me.
I think it's about time we had some biology news.
Okay, excellent.
So here's a story that I think you might be familiar with, Mr. Insect Man. It's about earwigs.
Okay, yes, I did see it.
You did?
Yeah. Well, of course, I'm also a big fan of origami.
Oh, well, yes, you do see where we're going with this. Before we get on to the actual story, what do you think of earwigs?
I think they're gross, but then I think all insects are gross, so...
That's so good. I think you're probably the only entomologist in the world who thinks all insects are gross.
Every single one. Like even a ladybird. I'm okay with the carapace. Would you call it a carapace?
Yeah. I think they're called elytra or elytra or something. The wing casing.
Yeah. I'm okay with that part of a butterfly, but if I see it upside down, not a butterfly, sorry, a ladybird. If I see it upside down with its little legs, oh, gross.
Okay. I think earwigs have got an awful PR problem. And that problem is they're called earwigs.
Yeah.
It's a horrible name.
Well, I think they deserve it though, don't they?
Why? Why do they deserve it?
Do they not live in people's ears?
No, it's an old wives' tale.
Okay.
So the old wives' tale goes that they burrow into people's ears and then they lay their eggs in your brain.
Well, I didn't say that.
Okay, no, but I don't think they do go in people's ears.
And what's the wig part?
That's the old name. I can't remember what language it is, but that's the name for like beetle.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's an ear beetle basically, which I think's nicer. Ear beetle.
It's still a bit scary.
Yeah, it's not that nice, but earwig.
In fact, I think they've got quite a good PR team that they've managed to keep it on wig in some disused language. And okay.
I think wig's horrible. It's horrible. I wouldn't mind working for the insect PR team. I reckon I could, I could get people more into insects and try and rid this or dispel this notion that they're all disgusting. Not with you, obviously.
Butterflies. But some butterflies are nice, aren't they?
Mm. Oh,
but
yeah,
I wouldn't
they are.
touch one.
Well, you shouldn't. It can upset their the like scales and dust that they have on their wings, and then they are incredibly unbalanced. So you should never touch a butterfly's wings.
Sounds like me.
What do you mean?
Incredibly unbalanced, so you shouldn't touch it.
Yes, that's true. Anyway, so this is something I didn't know about earwigs. They can fly.
I did know that.
Obviously, you know that. You're an entomologist, and it's just been such a long time since I've seen an earwig. I think I used to see them in the garden quite a lot, like when I was growing up, but I don't really have a garden anymore, and I don't really see many beetles. And I don't really think I ever remember seeing one fly, but maybe I did, and I've just forgotten. But it does make sense if they are beetles.
I just think if you saw one flying, you just would assume it was something else.
Yeah, that's true. But what I mean is I've seen a ladybird fly, I've picked it up and seen it fly off my hand. And I don't think I've ever seen that with an earwig. But perhaps I have and
No.
I've just forgotten. I don't know. But anyway, so earwigs pack their wings into tiny packages with a surface area that's more than 10 times smaller than the fully extended wing.
I mean, that is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the highest folding ratio in the animal kingdom. So it's absolutely tiny, like this little thing. And there's a brilliant video showing the two different shapes of the earwig wing.
I haven't seen the video.
Closed and open. I'll show it to you now, and obviously we'll include in the show notes. We're having to do a lot of show notes today, but they're all worth it, always worth it, and easy to see now that we've got iTunes. You don't have to go to the YouTube page. So let me send this to you.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that amazing, the way that folds?
Yeah.
So a lot of reporters have been likening this to origami, the Japanese art of paper folding. Everybody knows that anyway, don't they? But in actual fact, it would be physically impossible to create this structure with a sheet of paper because of the mathematical constraints and limits over how many times you can fold or how you can fold a two-dimensional piece of paper.
I believe it's called origami theory.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a myth. It's a saying that people say that you can only fold a piece of paper 8 times. You can't fold it any more than that.
I thought you could only fold it in half 8 times.
That's it, sorry. Yes, in half 8 times.
Yeah.
Although this article that I'm reading, or I've read, says given a paper large enough and enough energy, you can fold as many times as you want, but the problem is the thickness of the paper grows exponentially.
Yeah.
And by the time you get to the 103rd fold, your piece of paper would need to be as thicker than the entire observable universe.
What? Wow, that is a cool fact.
Yeah, exactly. So it's crazy because of how much thicker it gets on each sort of increment or whatnot. But that would be, so it would be 93 billion light years in length.
Okay.
So anyway, the earwig, hearing
Not
this...
made of paper.
Not made of paper. The earwig obviously heard of this theory and said it threw, what's the saying? Threw troubles to the wind? What is it? When you throw something to the wind, don't you?
Caution to the wind.
Caution to the wind. So the earwig threw caution to the wind and said, no, I'm going to evolve a way to fold my tiny little wing as many times as I like. So the way that it does this is it has the joints in the wing where the creases form are actually constructed from a rubbery polymer called resilin. Yeah. And the resilin allows the fold to lock into 2 configurations, so either open or closed. And the way I've seen this described is like those... Do you remember those snappy wrist bracelets?
I do. Love them.
You slap them against your wrist when they're straight, and then they curl and stay rigid.
I had one for my bike.
Oh, did you? What did it do on your bike?
It's just reflective.
Ah, okay. Oh, cool. So basically, that's how the earwig's wing works. The wings open, and then they snap into place, and they're locked, and then they have the required rigidity for the earwig to fly.
Awesome.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
All in a tiny little wing of an earwig.
And I've read I don't know whether you've read about this, about the applications as like a biomaterial or inspired by earwig wings scientists are working on.
So using this mechanism as a model, scientists have already engineered this prototype gripper, and that uses the rigidity of the structure to clamp onto objects without the need for an external force. So the strength of the joints essentially allow it to grip onto objects. So you could have something like a piece of card or piece of paper actually potentially hold on to something quite weighty. And I do think that's quite cool, and there is a prototype in the video that I'll include in the show notes as well as the article. But there are also some arguably much more exciting applications for the technology, which would be in foldable electronics and also solar sails.
Okay.
So do you know what a solar sail is?
I mean, I would have a guess from the name of it. Is it like a kite?
It is
with
kind of like
on?
a kite. Kind of. what it is we're back to space. It expands and uses, it's like a big surface area that uses the radiation pressure from the sun to propel a spacecraft.
Okay.
So instead of using fuel, it's able to take the energy from the sun. So obviously surface area and rigidity is a huge factor in their construction. And if you were able to create very, very small ones that open up into much larger surface areas, then you could have a really efficient solar sail. They obviously absorb the radiation from the sun or whatnot onto certain mirrors and then propel the spacecraft. But then they can continually do that. So it can get faster and faster and faster. So it starts off quite slow. I think the current technology we have, if we put a solar sail up today, it would be able to get to Pluto in about 5 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So they can get really, really fast spacecrafts. And this would be a great way to create these solar sails.
Awesome.
All that from the humble earwig.
Oh. So, in the last episode, Homo Stupidus, you really enjoyed the cave painting news.
I did.
So it's not cave painting-y, but it's ancient art, back in the world of ancient art.
Okay.
Scientists have discovered the oldest known tattoo.
Oh.
And the reason I wanted to talk about it was because, unlike the cave paintings, which were a bit crap, this is actually pretty good. Like the tattoo itself is actually fairly decent.
Okay.
So it dates from around the time of the first pharaohs. So that's about 5,100 years ago.
Wow.
So it's really old. And I knew that you would ask about this. So it's a carbon-based pigment, which the scientists think is probably soot.
Okay.
And I'll send you the photo.
Please, yeah.
So it's of a Barbary sheep and a bull. But you can actually see what it is. Like, often I think it just looks like a mess. But they've used infrared imaging, and it's actually really clear once they've enhanced the photo what it was, because the bodies were preserved by being buried in the sand. The heat from the sand preserved them.
I was going to ask this because you need the skin, right, to see a tattoo. So
yeah,
it
exactly.
remains that old. I thought it might have been a mummified pharaoh or something.
No, I think it's just the sand.
Okay. Yeah, that is pretty good.
It is, isn't it?
That's not too bad. I mean, considering it's 5,000 years old as well.
Exactly.
Like, you see a tattoo on an 80-year-old and it's faded, and often a bit not so nice anymore. This is incredible, actually. It's a good shape. What is it? You said a sheep, a Barbary sheep with downturned horns.
Yes, and then a bull, but you can't really see the bull as much. But
no, you can just see the sheep.
So it's from the same time as about the same time as the oldest tattoo that we had before this, which was on a guy who got buried in ice. So that was about 5,000 years ago as well. But his tattoo was just like lines or blocks of pigment, and that was over the top of joint disease. So they'd think that was probably applied as a treatment rather than just a cosmetic thing. Whereas this is clearly somebody likes sheep.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting choice. A sheep. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, they're in Africa. They've got such cooler animals. I'd have like a crocodile or I don't know. I don't think they had lions up that far, but
yeah, well,
maybe
you could have a sphinx.
Yeah, that's true.
Like they knew about lions. I mean, people get all sorts of tattoos.
Yeah, that's true. When we say this is a good image, I mean, compared to the cave paintings, it really is, because you couldn't really make out anything from the cave paintings.
But the cave paintings were a lot older.
Yeah, like significantly older, right? They were like 45,000 years or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is only 5,000 years ago. Maybe the cave paintings were much better in the heyday. Yeah.
Maybe Neanderthal tattoos were so good. We stole it from them.
That's true. Wow, to just think when this person had their tattoo done. I mean, the concept of thinking that this would last for 5,000 years and that people would still be admiring this artwork, hundreds, thousands of generations later, I think that is crazy.
It is. Yeah.
Such an innocuous moment for this person.
Well, I don't think we necessarily know how widespread tattoos were.
Maybe it was a huge
I think it was
event.
probably a big deal. Like, nobody mentions tattoos in the Bible.
Do they not? I thought that they did.
Okay,
and they were,
if they do, then yeah. Sorry.
I thought they did. I thought
that
they were actually a sin, getting a tattoo.
Well, I can imagine they'd think that.
Although that might be something that they introduced a bit later, I don't know. But I'm sure I've heard that before. I mean, yeah. It is amazing.
You know what I also think is amazing?
Go on.
I read another bit of tattoo news this week. They've only just discovered why tattoos stay in your skin, even though your skin obviously changes and sheds.
Okay.
So the pigment gets collected up, gets eaten by macrophages.
Yeah.
And then that macrophage dies and another macrophage. It's constantly going through a series of macrophages, so it's not lost as the skin sheds.
So the tattoo exists within macrophages?
For most of the time, yeah.
I thought that the macrophages could actually remove the tattoo, but the ink blobs are so large that macrophages can't actually get rid of them. They can only get rid of the smaller ones.
That's how laser tattoo removal works. Like, you concentrate the light onto the pigment and it breaks up and then the macrophages dispose of it, but they're always in the macrophages.
Oh, okay.
It's just a big piece of pigment that doesn't get broken down.
Okay. Oh, wow, okay.
Because the macrophage doesn't break down the pigment, it just carries it away.
Yeah.
So if it can't carry it away, then it just stays where it is.
So the macrophage consumes whatever it is, the ink, and then dies immediately.
Not immediately. It just can't move with it, I guess.
Oh, okay. It's like over encumbered.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's really interesting.
So it's crazy to me that we've had tattoos for 5,000 years at least. We've only just figured out how they work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That is pretty amazing.
Or maybe they knew in Egyptian times and we just forgot.
I guess it's really difficult, isn't it? Because the tattooing would have been discovered through, I'm assuming, like trial and error and or like a mistake. Somebody got injured and then rubbed some soot into it, and then they had that scar, effectively.
Yeah.
Cosmetic scar for the rest of their lives.
Yeah,
and then other people began to replicate that.
Created in a therapeutic way. Like Oatsy the Iceman.
And then I guess it takes real advances in microbiology in order to work out that macrophages are not able to completely remove the tattoo, and that's how it works.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
2018, though, bit late.
Well, we've got it now. That's the most important
thing.
Got it
now. Better late than never.
Exactly. That is amazing. Tattoos. You've not got any tattoos, have you?
No, I haven't. I'm too scared. And also, I don't think I could keep the loyalty to something for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm scared of. That's why I'm too scared to get one. Are you scared of the pain?
I'm scared of the pain, yeah.
I don't think that would bother me so much, although I think it'd probably be unpleasant. But it is the fact that you're choosing a piece of artwork that you are then going to be dedicated to for the rest of your life.
To be honest, I could imagine you getting this tattoo.
Yeah, well, I actually thought when you said a sheep tattoo, I thought, that's cool. I'm glad you said that and not like a yin-yang.
No, I can imagine you getting it so that when people ask you, oh, what's your tattoo of? You'd be like, oh, do you not know this is the first ever tattoo? Oldest known tattoo.
Until the next person discovers an older one.
Well, then you can get a cover-up. Go on Tattoo Fixers. Oh, I got this tattoo because it used to be the oldest known and now I'm really regretting it, so can I have the new oldest known?
That's true. I do think it would be a cool one to have. I think it's a cool shape. And yeah, it's a really cool story. I guess I think if I were ever to get a tattoo, and I suspect like that time has gone now. I'm in my late 20s, so I'm not going to get one now, you know. I think it would definitely be some sort of animal or some sort of science related.
Maybe you could get the picture of Earth from Mars. Just a little
single dot. Yeah. What's that? That's yeah. Although I've got a few little dots that I could say at those. So
yeah. Put them in the show notes.